the pool. That'd be funny.
Oh, man.
Well, mine's going to be heated next weekend.
Sweet.
Yeah. You're going to be out there in November.
There's a notice.
It's going to be a jacuzzi.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I got the... All right, let me link over. Audio.
That'd be funny.
That'd be funny, yeah. Okay.
I hear some delays, I think.
Yeah, somebody's got the sound up. Uh-oh. Come on, Facebook. Uh-oh. Mine might not be going. My Facebook keeps shutting down. Great. Let me see if I can restart that real quick.
If you have to, you can sign in on mine and use mine if you're having issues.
All right, we'll get the good show going here. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll get going. I'll see if I can get it up. Here we go.
Go through your checklist, too.
Wrong song. Oh, that ain't working. Hang on. My bad. Wrong plug. Sorry, guys. The show was a little derailed earlier. Let's
I have no clue why.
let's try this again.
Reboot.
There we go. Much better.
And you still don't have that camera active, or is it?
It is. It's live. Yep. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Another episode of RC After Hours. I'm your host, Ron Kiglione. Thanks for joining us. We are live on Facebook. Come hang out. We got some guests on the line. Should be a great, fun show.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
So come hang out with us, and we'll answer your questions. Joining us in studio, the always great White Hunter, converted over to mountain bike rider extraordinaire, Mike Coolins.
As I cough out a lung from all the wrecking. But anyways, yes, hello, good morning, everyone. Good to be here.
Also join us in the great white north turned ditch digger, Andre Russo. How's the foot, buddy? How you doing?
It is. I'll survive.
Good.
I'll survive. Good morning.
They make great pharmaceutical things for that, so
Well,
you should be
it looks like
fine.
maybe alcoholic medication might be in order.
And our special guest today, Steve Neal from Hobbyking. Thanks, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you guys? Andre,
Fantastic.
Mike, thanks.
Morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
We appreciate it. You're up late as always, and I heard that it was Father's Day, and you had a fantastic day down under.
Yeah, it was a great day today. I got to spend it with my family and the boys. We went to a couple of hobby shops and then spent the afternoon building a diorama for the Coochie tunnels, actually, for a school project, which I should get 100% for. Well, actually, my 11-year-old should get 100% for. But anyway, that's what we do with dads on Father's Day. Nothing better. But no, a really, really good day. So it's, fantastic.
Great.
And there's that magic word for the first time. We should get a fantastic meter on how many times I say fantastic. So there we go.
Don't feel bad. I can't remember if it was the last podcast or the one before. I must have said wow 31.5 times. And I was like, after the show, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
an
a
idiot.
weird how some words are just sticklers for you.
Yeah, so,
I
all right,
understand.
real quick
Yeah.
before we get the show going, I got to give a special thanks to our sponsor, GetFpv.com. Those guys are fantastic. It is our Labor Day here in the States, and they're having a big sale So we want to throw out there real quick. Also, if you want to use RC After Hours, you will get 10% off your entire order if you spend $120. And also on top of that, they're having a Labor Day sale. So if you want to use L Day 5 off, you can get a 5% discount on top of that. So if you use the RC After Hours discount and their Labor Day discount, you get a total of 15% off your entire order. Spend over $120. That is a big deal. So if anybody's looking for any kind of drones or batteries or FPV needs or whatever,
it only got better.
Yes, go check out GetFpv.com. Throw in the code RCAfterhours, spend $120, and then use the code LDAY5OFF, and you get 5% more on top of that for a total of 15% off your entire order. So go check out GetFpv.com for their fast shipping. Usually on your doorstep within a couple days, Mike. That's
Sweet.
Great. So we'll talk about more of GetFpv later. But thanks to those guys for helping them bring Steve from Hobbyking on the show and hang out. And hopefully everybody's already been saying they hope you're very sleepy, Steve, so you can let out more secrets.
No, I have my wits about me. You
know? Oh, no. We'll call later then. We'll call later.
None of those Jedi mind tricks are going to get me this time.
So, what's the hot topic this week? What's on your mind? What do we want to talk about?
Well, the biggest thing I need to talk about is obviously Hobbyking Live is in the UK next weekend. So next Saturday is the 8th of September. That's our next event. That's our next big thing coming up is the HK Live event in the UK. So if you guys are in the UK, there's no reason. UK, it's only a tiny country. I'm sure that if you travel more than 6 hours, you can go from one end to the other. So there's no reason why you shouldn't get down there and see the guys there with all the great new stuff that's going to be on display with the UK team over there in the UK. That's nice. The first thing I have to get out of the way. It's fantastic. Obviously, following on from the EU event, so you're going to see the C-130, you're going to see the Albatross, the Buffaloes, Bonanzas, you're going to see the new Comet, you're going to see the new T-28, you're going to see all the new and ready to release stuff at that show. So that's pretty cool. Plus, not just RC, you're going to see some full-scale aviation as well at that event. So it's worthwhile going to check out for sure.
Awesome.
So there's the first thing out of the way. So I'll get that plug in. The next plug-in is our search on our website works.
Yes, I noticed that.
Guys, we've put in a massive effort to get our search to work in the last couple of weeks, and on Friday we did a big test ourselves, and we realised that our search bar, that little search icon, that little section where you put in your item, actually finds the things you're looking for, which is fantastic. So we're over the moon with our search because now we at work can actually physically use our website to what we need it to do, rather than using Google to search for things, which has been a thing that we've wanted to happen for a while, and now it's actually happening. So good things on our website, which is awesome, I think, anyway. So
real quick, Steve, before we get into more stuff, I don't think personally I can remember, or at least I can't think off the top of my head, that the C-130, this thing, I see more people, like the buzz on this airplane and the people excited for this airplane is like off the charts.
Yes.
I mean,
I have never met so many, I've come across so many passionate people when it comes to RC in regards to this airplane.
Yes.
We know it's going to be popular. We have an understanding of what our customer needs and wants, and when we released this, I don't think we actually did have an understanding for what our customers need, because I think we're going to run out pretty quick.
Wow.
I think this airplane is going to be a huge success. From the experience that I've had with the airplane, flying it for the last, say, few months now, every time I fly this airplane, it does something for me which I'm not expecting it to do, and it looks like a real C-130. It is amazing how well it looks and how well it performs. Like, I know we've shown some videos with this thing flying around, and
unexpected in a good way.
Yeah, we had a few fast landings, and we had some comments come up to say, like, I didn't know that NASA flew the C-130 and flew it so fast and all this sort of stuff. But when we like these comments. These comments are cool. Like, the funny, smart comments are fantastic. But those comments where people come in there and try and attack, it just, we sort of just, we move that on as passionate guys who want the aeroplane. So that's what we look at there. So each one of those, we put a video up recently of the new, of Ian flying it, doing some touch and goes and stuff. And I think we had 4,500 views in the first 2 days or something silly. So we're sort of like, wow, that's a big thing for that airplane. So the C-130, and to give you an update of what's happening with the C-130, it's currently production's finished. We're actually waiting for the inspections to come through. So basically, we're waiting for our guy on the ground to run through and go through all the products. So those the inspections that happen. So then we can then accept the delivery, and then we can get the deliveries underway. So that's what's happening in the C-130. So once that's ticked off and I agree to the inspections, then basically we get that process of getting them delivered and then to the warehouses, and then from there we do a release. So that's where we're at the moment. So anywhere between, we normally say 6 weeks to get it to warehouses.
Yep.
So we just have to wait for that now. So that's all we have to wait for is, and once we get, word that they're, that the stocks starts to land, that's when we do a pre-release, which we'll probably do a pre-release on this airline because we know it's going to be an exciting and a good seller. So we have, and obviously demand and everything else, and then that'll get us in good numbers to see if we do the next run straight away or we wait. So that's what I think that's C-130. So.
Well, you already know the answer to that.
Well, this is the thing. We did, like, even with like airplanes, like we did the 109, and we didn't know how the 109 was going to go, and then it sort of like it blew us away how popular that airplane was. So we had to then go and do like the next order had to go through fast. So there's and you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. Our previous experience with German and Luftwaffe or Japanese aircraft have been a little bit quiet. So in comparison to our allied counterparts. So yeah.
I think this thing is going to drive you guys crazy as far as production. I think you're going to be producing this one for a bit, and I still think it's going to be like a 3-to-1 ratio, gray to blue. You're going to get the fans who will like the blue one, but I think your gray one is just going to be off the charts.
I don't know. I see the grey one as being a big seller because you can customize it to your own taste.
Yeah.
But then watching the Blue Angels one fly, and in the video, when you see the Blue Angels one fly, you're going to be like,
I know.
That's pretty cool.
I think they're in Cleveland this weekend, the Blue Angels, for the air show. I'm sure Fat Albert's there too, but the Blue Angels are there, and I kind of miss it because Chad and I usually go. We usually go on this weekend, and I'm going to be at an Indians game tomorrow, but hopefully I'll see him going over. They delayed the game a couple hours though for the air show, so I don't know if we'll see anything or not, but I'm always hopeful.
I forget
It's the community mods, which are, I think, we're going to enjoy the most. I mean, Michael Rosnick's here on the chat saying he already wants to do a C-130 design on his AC C-130 gunship. So
I'd love to see a gunship. I just think that look fantastic. And if you can get the sound of the cannons, if you can get like an RC sort of like sound system in there or something like that, would be sensational. Some LED, some lights, some smoke, whatever you can do. I don't know.
Air-to-air refueler, that would be fun. You get the pods to extend off the wings. I don't know if you can slow the approaching jets behind it enough.
That would be
a lot of room for that. But it'd be fun.
I would need a bungee cord for my throttle management. You see the line going way out.
Even a C-130, like because there was actually one drawn up, but it never actually worked. But it was a float plane of a C-130, a flying boat.
Oh,
and I think if we convert the bottom hull and turn it into a flying boat, that could be a what if.
I couldn't even imagine that. That's crazy.
Cool. I was looking at for whatever reason, it was a documentary that popped up on my YouTube channel, but it was about the CIA catchers that use the C-130 with the Y kind of, they get the hooks on the front of the plane. That'd be kind of fun to try.
Yeah, that'd be cool. or even if you can get like those what are they? The Osprey, the V22s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get two of them to try and hook up and do some air flight refueling. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And
who's going to do it?
How many people are already purchasing their toy trucks and parachute packages and getting them set up to drop out the back of it? Huh? That would be cool too. Tanks, toy tanks, and Jeeps, and open the hatch. And Andre, I
think the best thing would be like 2 rockets.
Rockets,
That'd be cool. But the C-130, it's one of those airplanes. We know it's going to have a cult following now. We know how popular it is getting, and as soon as we can release that, that's what we want. We want that out to the community, and I want to fly it. I want to have a few of them actually. So I might just do that. Get a little collection of C-130s. It's yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at with the C-130. So all those guys who are worried about how soon it's going to be very, very soon. It won't be that far away now. So we're very excited. So that's where we're at with the C-130.
Steve, I got a quick little story I wanted to share with you. A while back, actually, it was supposed to be for Flight Fest. We did a little Hobbyking / RCAfterhours giveaway, and I was actually, even though I was very, very hesitant of giving away my own personal BF-109, went to one of our great Patreon customers, Andrew Summer, and just happened to be that he lives fairly close here in Columbus, and I got busy, and I was on the fence actually going to drive the plane down to him because it was probably going to be cheaper than actually shipping the plane down to him. And anyway, it got to the point where I was like, man, I got to get this thing going. And I hee-hawed around enough to like, you know what? Forget that. I'm going to buy Andrew a brand new spanking in the box plane, and I'm going to ship it to him. I was going to ask
about that because when I saw that,
it's still here.
Wait, you didn't ship this?
So I actually physically ordered it and got in contact with Andrew. Andrew told him, you know, I got a brand new plane. You're not going to get our beat up one here that's been in the studio, and it's going to send it to you. And he's like, I'll be honest. He goes, I have no problem. I love the plane, but where I fly and the space I have, he said it'd be really, really tough with that BF-109. He says, honestly, something like a Durafly Tundra, I guess he's really been wanting a Tundra, he said would be the ultimate. Yeah. So real quick, I hopped back online. I got the order canceled. They credited me the money. I turned around, I ordered him a Tundra, and he's going to be getting it this Tuesday, and he is absolutely ecstatic.
Oh, that is great.
So
great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, it is the, you know, one of the most popular airplanes ever made. RC planes, I think. RC plane. Can I say that? Is it the most popular RC plane ever made?
I will say when we went to order it, everything but the green one was out of stock. And I go, is the green one okay? He's like, yep, that's fine. If it's a Tundra, that's fine. So we got him the green one. But all the other colors were.
That is awesome. So he's totally excited about this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really good news. That's fantastic. I'll have to, I might have to do something special because we've got something coming up very soon with the Tundra, which is pretty cool, but I can't say what it is yet. But I might shoot you over a set and you can give them to him. He might, we'll work something out. I'll talk to you guys later about it. But that's something special we can do with the Tundra. That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so what do we got? So we released the new Comet, the Japanese Shusui.
Yes.
Shusui?
I wanted
is pronounced it.
That's perfect. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, for one, I absolutely had no idea the Japanese had something similar to the Comet. And my other thing was, you talked just a little bit ago about, you know, other different planes. You know, Japanese or German planes generally don't sell as good or whatever. But me looking at this Mitsubishi, I absolutely love the color scheme. I think it's a lot better than, you know, the Comet as far as visibility and everything. So for me, I don't really care whether it's Russian, German, Japanese, whatever. I really like the color of this, you know, the scheme of this plane, and I would buy this one over the Comet. So I'm curious to see, do you think, you know, this plane itself, even though it's a Mitsubishi Japanese plane, with that bright color scheme, you think it's going to do better than the Comet?
Well, the Comet's always done really well, and we've had the Comet for a while now, and it's different. It's, it was either plain white when we had it, and then we had it camouflaged, and we had it as a kit.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always had it in our inventory. The red one came along, and it was a new colour scheme, and that was one of the first ones that I did the announcement with, actually. So it was a little bit of history there. And it was very successful. It was a bright colour, even though when you flew it, it sort of blended into a dark colour. So it was a little bit hard to see when it got away from you because the Comet's very small.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to do a different scheme, and I found this scheme, which was actually the scheme itself is in essence a what if. It's not an actual real colour scheme. That the only one that actually did make it. It's there's one actually in the US, which is in a museum over there. I don't know whereabouts because it moves around a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in I can't remember what museum it was in, but it's a orange Comet, which has a different nose to the German one, and was actually tested by the Japanese, and then later on captured by the US after it was Japan surrendered. And this actual scheme that's on the Comet now is a scheme that was a what-if test scheme, but the factories were bombed by the US, and everything inside it was lost. So it's a bit of a could have been what-if maybe scheme, but we tested the all-orange one, and it was very similar to the red one where it just formed into the sky and disappeared. But with the silver, it had that completely different, like it flashed in the sky and you got to see your orientation was then worked out.
Yep.
So we decided to go with the silver one. So, and it's working okay. We haven't actually released it as in a video yet for the promotion yet, which will come very soon because we're currently running our sizzling hot sale at the moment, which is doing really well. So there's another thing as well, guys. So make sure you jump onto the tail end of the sale. The sale's nearly finished. I think it's got a couple of days to go. So we're currently got a few things on offer. So when this sale finishes, then obviously we'll start to then release you'll see the Comet as a video, and then we'll do the T-28. So they're the two releases but the actual Shusui has now been released and is out for people to buy. But we're just waiting for those videos to come up, which will come up in the next few weeks.
Gotcha.
So after the sale. So we just don't want to sort of concentrate a new product when there's a sale on, because obviously if people are interested in the sale, we release a new model and then it gets lost in the sale. So that's where we're at with that one. Yeah,
makes sense. And the cool thing is like your original one still has the option to put the rocket in the back. Mike, you've seen this, haven't you?
Yep.
That is
you can
cool.
still put the little C-class rocket in the back, and you can still run an ignition source off your receiver as the old one did. Where we fly, we're not allowed to use rockets or any sort of propulsion other than electric. So we're sort of limited on what we can do. We were going to do it at a different location, but it never worked out. So we had some really bad weather coming up the last couple of weeks. We had a lot of high wind and rain. Not so much rain, sorry, high wind, and we're in a drought at the moment in Australia, believe it or not.
Crazy.
So that's it was up to so the Shusui ready to go. It's just waiting for that release. The video is actually quite hilarious because the song in the video is turning Japanese by the vapors, which is pretty funny. So
that is fantastic.
So it's
that is
and
great.
That's a good thing about it is we've had the opportunity to and we've copped a little bit of flack over the Spitfire was one that was a what if color scheme. And
it's a great plane. It's a fantastic thing to fly. It shows up nice. It flies predictably. You land it well.
Yeah, it's it flies fantastic. I mean, it's a great airplane. It's Tom Hunt's design. We all know about Tom Hunt. He's awesome in what he does, and we're very lucky to work with Tom with that airplane. And to bring it out in a what if color scheme, it was one of those things. And now this one here as well. The guys are you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't in some cases. But anyway, we'll we're happy with the way that the Seafire sold. It's very, very popular. And hopefully the Comet, when it's released, will do the same thing. So, yeah, we've changed a few colour schemes. The Comet, we didn't really change anything in the airframe at all except for the new cockpit. It has a new design cockpit to give it that original look because it had a different canopy than the German Comet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what we've done there. So there's no real upgrades as such to the motor. I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it sort of thing with that aeroplane. We just decided that it needed a new freshen, like a new fresh scheme, and so I chose that one, and there we have it. So that's where we are with the Comet.
I think that's going to be a winner. And also our good friend of the show, Adam Drain, he's expert on everything airplanes, says that in the U.S. he thinks it's at the Plains of Fame in Chino, which I believe that'd be
Chino,
out.
yes. Yeah.
So.
And I think it's over there with. I think there's a Japanese 262 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? So that's which is a different shape 262. They made some modifications to it. So yeah, but cool.
I don't know if you could tell us if I know the Bonanza is coming out here fairly soon. I'm excited about that because I have time in a Bonanza F-33. It's always been one of my favorite planes. It's kind of like the Porsche of civil aviation. And is it gotten into any other hands, or maybe it's waiting for your big show in Europe? But I was just wondering, being a belly lander, I'm kind of excited about it. I was just wondering what kind of feedback, if any, you have on the Bonanza.
Yeah, we had some guys saying, it needs to be bigger, it needs retracts, it needs this, it needs that.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose its philosophy is that we want it to be that entry level, but still have the quality that goes along with Durafly. So all your spare parts and ball link connections, plug and fly, pre-assembled. It's a simple build, and has that ability just to be thrown around and have a lot of fun with a small aeroplane, but still have that quality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at. So price point's going to be good. It's going to fly well, and it's going to be practical for guys that want to basically get out of the car, and we've written on the box, throw it and show it, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's a simple plane which works really, really well. So that's actually nearly in all warehouses, so expect to release that pretty soon as well. So that's very, very soon as well. So
fantastic.
The Bonanza, and comes in the box. All you need to do is glue the tail surfaces on, screw the bottom of the wing on, plug in your receiver, and you're ready to go.
Oh, wow.
It's basically, even the nose cone and the propeller are pre-installed.
No kidding.
So it's out of the box. It's ball link connections, click it on, glue your tail. The longest part is actually gluing the tail on, which is in a two-piece, and obviously just setting up your receiver and away you go.
Yeah.
Takes up to a 2200 3-cell battery. So you're looking at a 1600 3-cell works perfectly, or you can go all the way up to a 2200 because, 2200 3-cells are a lot smaller than what they used to be and a lot lighter as well.
Yeah.
So, and it performs really well on even down to a 1300. You can still get some nice, decent flight time out of it.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Quick question, curiosity-wise, I know it's a belly lander, so is it a two-bladed prop, or does it actually have the three-bladed kind of scale prop on it?
It's got a 7x5 propeller, which is a Aerostar propeller, which is the APC style propeller.
Okay.
So it's
a simple two-bladed.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, simple two-bladed.
And
it's got
cheap prop too, right? So it's like it's easy to swap.
Yeah. But it's we had this issue with guys flying the EFX races and saying that they've broken propellers, and but as soon as you cut the throttle, the propeller gets out of the way and it just belly lands and there's no problem. You can take off again and change the battery. It's the problem that you have is the guys that land with a bit of throttle and cut the throttle and that sort of stuff. But anyway, it's eventually going to, I've got an EFX which has got the same propeller I've had since we did the original video back when, and it's still running perfectly fine with the same propeller. So yeah, I don't know. Bad luck, I suppose. You might break the propeller, but I think it's $2.60 for the propeller. So I mean, yeah, it's nice and cheap.
Now, the only time I've ever destroyed a prop on a racer or anything like that's on takeoff.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of ice. I think a little bit of ice. Didn't you have the EFX racer? You had a little bit of ice damage there in the dead of winter or something?
Just a little. Just a little.
Yeah. But going along with the Bonanza is the Buffalo, which you guys might have seen, which is the new Buffalo, which is coming along as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the same sort of vein. So you're looking at like a under a meter wingspan, runs on a 2200 3-cell or smaller, and has that easy bolt together, a little bit of glue finished, and it flies really, really well out of the box. And it's a similar sort of style of airplane in the Buffalo, which is, I'm just designing the box art now, so that's not that far away either. So we're looking at, production nearly finished with the Buffalo. So it'll be the Bonanza then the Buffalo. So that's the next handful. So,
speaking of box art, do you do all the designing of the box art? I mean, your box is like, I'm looking at the Bushmule box right in front of me here. I mean, they are fantastic. Like, I have them displayed in the studio because they look so good.
Yeah, there's a couple that we've done. I mean, we've got an art team as well, which help us out with that. So I give them a brief, and then we work backwards and back and forth together.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bushmule itself was, we wanted to do something that was, it had represented, and that's an actual photo of the Bushmule that we used. That was taken, you can actually see some of the dirt on the plane and that sort of stuff in the actual drawing.
Yeah.
So then we go backwards and forwards, and a couple of, the Spitfire was one that I wanted to do, the Seafire. So originally it was a Corsair that was taking off from a carrier, and it wasn't a piece of aviation art that somebody had done, and it was beautiful. And I just wanted to, to replicate that. So then we got Spitfire. We took a photo of it. We sent it to our art team, and then they sort of drew it up and went backwards and forwards a few times. So yeah, it's something that I really enjoy doing, the box art, even though some guys throw it away. But it's well, I like it. I enjoy the different artworks that you can put on. As a kid, I remember plastic models and saving the box art.
Mm-hmm.
I remember doing that and having all these cut out box arts in my bedroom because I was a nerd. But I, and I do it now. Like every box art that I've done, I've cut out and it's at my desk.
That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the big Spitfire, I think I've shot over Andre a picture of the big Spitfire box art, which is pretty cool. And the new C-130 is it's pretty cool as well.
Wow.
So the C-130 is a C-130. You can do any photo. Like as a kid, I remember the C-130 Airfix C-130 box, and I think it had like parachutes, and it was extracting something out the back, flying really low. And I wanted to do that picture, but I couldn't do it. So I've got another one, which is, it's actually a friend of mine that's taken the photo, and I've used that photo and made it look as though it's in motion. So it's the photo you're going to see on the front of the C-130 is a friend of mine who took that photo. So that's pretty
nice.
Cool.
See, it's even the box art or the story behind how the box, it's just cool. It's not just they threw something on there and ship it out. Like a lot of work goes in just the box.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
looks
and
sharp.
and that was back to the days when Stu was there and he did. I remember the P40 box art. I don't remember the P40 box art, but it was, it looked hand drawn. A lot of effort went into that box art, and that's something that we wanted to do from the box art has always been we had the EFX racer or the EFX, then the EF Extra, the Sidewinder and the Tomahawk all have got a similar sort of style with their box art where it's black and white and it has that sort of racy edge to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll flow on to the next line, like the EFX race is coming back out again, and that'll have the same box art. And then we've got another aeroplane coming out which is going to have the same sort of theme as that because it is one of those racing type of aeroplanes.
Yep. And
then there's another one after that which is the same sort of theme, and it's going to have the same style of box art. So that box art will run through with the Durafly. And obviously with Avios, it's black and white. So then we've got the black and white theme going with it. So it's good fun to be able to see it. It's like the airplanes itself. Like you imagine this airplane, then you see it come to life in front of your eyes. It's very exciting.
Yeah. That is a good question. I guess I could ask real quick. We got a comment on it. It says keep box art simple and reduce costs. They go in the recycle bin anyway. Now, see, I'm the opposite. Like, I'm kind of like you, Steve. Even I could cut like if you got a workshop or something, cut the box part out or hang it up on the wall. But does that actually putting that much effort in? Does that actually add to the cost of the airplane?
No.
There you go.
Not worth the cost is not that I mean the only cost it's going to cost us is our time and effort in regards to our art team and my time. So I suppose the amount of time that we put into it, it's part and parcel of the design of the product. I suppose it's the same as if Apple were to design a product and bring it out in a white box. I mean, they bring it out in a white box anyway, but if they were to bring it out in a plain box, it's like our graphenes, for instance, our graphene batteries. I can remember when before I was a worker before I worked at Hobbyking, I ordered a graphene battery, and it was a 2200 3-cell. And when it came in this black box, I opened it up, and I always tell the story about it. And I kept it in that box because I thought it was a premium product. I had the Apple experience of opening up this battery, and I thought this is just the best battery in the world.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the same sort of thing, and that's what we wanted to do with the graphene because it is a premium product. And Durafly and Avios are our premium brand, so why not give the customer that experience of opening up a product which has that quality feel? So that's the reason why we have the box art with Durafly and Avios. With H-King, we don't, particularly, it's a white box. Not to say we don't care about the product, but it's So that's the reason why we have it. So, yeah. That's the answer.
Good. So keep it up. I like it. I don't care what they say.
Oh, and it keeps me gainfully employed. So that's good. I'm happy as well. We'll keep
good.
that going.
All right. Sorry I got off topic, but I was just sitting here staring. I was curious about that. Anyway, go on. There's probably more planes that you want to talk about. Some secret stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, well, H-King, we released the Sky Sword, 70mm Sky Sword.
Yes, in pink. Mike, pink.
I had nothing.
Yes.
I had nothing.
Come on.
Leave that one for the ladies.
No.
I'll fly it. I'll fly the pink one.
If I get one of those, I'm putting on my pink shirt, putting on my pink helmet, and I'm flying it.
No.
Yes.
No. Well, you're going to be flying it from the other end of the field. You're going to look like a dot from my perspective.
No.
Thanks, there, buddy.
You lost me. I'm going.
Poor Mike.
No, the 70mm Sky Swords release event. Like I've seen some guys put them on 6S and they look fantastic.
How do you see it on 6S? It looks fantastic. I wouldn't even be able to. Gone.
Well, we actually tested it on 6S, and then we tested it on 4. And the reason why we released it on 4 was for the cost for the customer to then run that airplane. 6S batteries are more expensive than 4S batteries.
Yeah.
The performance out of the airplane was still good on 4S. It wasn't dynamic. It wasn't I'll take that back. It wasn't blistering speed, but it still had enough energy and everything else to get you out of loops and rolls and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Landing and takeoff speeds were reduced dramatically with 4S.
Oh yeah.
So like you can get this thing to land like really slow. Like I've seen it. I've seen the guys. We were flying it around in the Netherlands event, and they were scraping the flaps on the ground when they were doing low passes and that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, these guys had them dialed in so sweet, and it was good to see. But yeah, I've seen guys, and now they've flown them on 6S, and 6S is all fun and fast and everything else, which is cool. But 4S they're not super quick, but they're faster than, say, a Vampire on 4S, so they're still quick. Yeah. Is this to say that we're not looking at bringing out a 6S next? I think it's on the card, maybe.
Wow.
And And the yellow is selling. Oh, actually, I think the yellow was selling better than the pink, and now the pink have got a bit more ground. So the pink are roughly 50-50. So I think they're selling on par with each other at the moment. So
we better buy some of the non-pink ones quick. Screw that result.
Now, I'm curious to know about the Sky Sword. Just looking at it and everything, it's to me. I'd love to fly one. I think they're awesome looking, like one of the best looking jets out there. But on the other side, it looks very intimidating. Like, man, I don't know. This thing just looks like it's going to be a handful, hard to see. So how's the perception or the feedback coming on the?
Like they're like the 90mm one. They look as though they're going to bite really bad and they're going to be a really terrible flyer, but they actually fly really, really well, surprisingly well. If you have a look at, I think it's Lee Schofield, Essential RC. He did a video of the Sky Sword, and his slow flight and landings and everything were just like unreal. Like, it's like, wow, it really shows. I think it gets off the ground at about 15 feet.
Wow.
And it's like, it's not meant to do that. And yeah, so it's, it flies really, really well. We were, pleasantly surprised when we first got it. The big one, we were like, wow, this thing, flies. Why does it fly so well? It's so odd looking. It shouldn't fly well.
Yeah, exactly. That's you just got to fly this thing full throttle because if the way it looks, but so there you have it, folks. Heard it right from Steve.
Yeah, you can.
If you're interested and you like the looks of this jet and everything, it's not that intimidating. It's you got a little bit of experience.
Not at all. It's probably a second EDF. Like if I was to, and they fly, but they're very, very benign. Like the characteristics are. I mean, it's the stalls are. They just doesn't happen. It's just really weird. And so it's it actually, once you get the center of gravity sorted out, and I fly a little bit tail heavy, but it flies. It flies like it shouldn't fly that way, but it does. So it's cool. It's very, very cool.
That's funny. Tom made a good comment. It's like the pink Batmobile.
With the long nose.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys the story about what we did to the nose one time, but I think that was off air, so we can't repeat that one.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
So the next release, like I said, is the T-28, and I think, Andre, you've got one right next to you.
Yes.
Right there. Look at
there
that.
You go.
What a coincidence.
Look at that.
It's not built. That's my fault. I should have had that bad boy done, but I got busy in the weekend. But here's the fuselage. I just love the paint, man. That's so is this another fictional one, or is this one that's legit?
No, that's there's a little badge on the side there, which is the
Naval Aviation
Centennial, and that actually did the airshow circuit in that scheme. So it's been around for a while in that colour scheme. The only thing that's not legit is the name on the cockpit. That's the only thing that's not legit. Everything else is. And
it's legit enough, man. You've got some creative control there.
Yeah, but we've actually done this one, and wait till you see the promo clip for this one. It is pretty cool. It's very American and very cool. So it's Team USA all the way with this one. It's pretty cool. But I know
Ollie.
And this is this one here is the T-20. You can see the name on the side there.
Yep.
Can you see it? Yeah. Yep. So that's my son. So that's the Oliver's my son, and so I've given him a name on the side of an airplane because he bugged me to do it. So
that is great. Great.
Yeah, and we did that with the sea. Yeah, we did that with the Seafire, and we've done that with this, and it's good fun to put that little bit of personality with our airplane. So we really enjoy it. It's cool.
Steve, question: I'm really surprised that you don't have a pilot figure in there. Was there a reason behind that on this one?
Yeah, the T-28 cockpit. If you just bring it back again, Andre.
Yep.
You can actually see inside the cockpit. We've enlarged the front instrument panel.
Okay.
And that is set up for a pan and tilt FPV camera.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So the Marines, or the yellow one that we did before, was the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just based for an FPV cockpit. So that's the reason why there's no scale detail inside the cockpit. It's a FPV pan and tilt setup for a cockpit. So that's what we've done there. How many guys will fly this FPV? Hopefully everyone that buys it, because flying this in that immersed FPV feeling is so much fun.
Yes.
When you get to look out over the wing and see the blue wing fly. It's like you're doing an air show.
I can only imagine.
And that would be the perfect plane to fly FPV, because I've never really flown a bad flying T-28 Trojan ever. They're just fantastic. So you could just
enjoy the flying in the visual aspects without worrying about the bad tendencies.
Yeah,
of some of these planes
that would be fun for sure. Andre, when are you setting that up?
Probably this afternoon. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's funny because I think I flew my old Park Zone T-28 last year, and it flew. I mean, this plane is so beat up. I bought it and it was in multiple pieces used from one of the other pilots, and it's so beat up and it flies. One wing's always drooping down because it's. And I'm like, wow. It's like, this thing needs to be retired. So this is really good timing. So it's I'll have to see. I'm kind of curious to see if the props from the old model. Because I have my old T-28 is a Park Zone basic, but I've got the power system from the Hobbyking in it, right? So I've got the prop and everything. So I'm going to see if those seat up correctly or not. Because if they do, then I've got a bunch of props at my disposal. So we'll see. If not, no big deal. Order some spares. Maybe retire that old poor beat up T-28.
I see it in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's had its days. So. It's kind of curious. I'm kind of curious, actually, Steve, if you guys have considered doing a T-20, a more basic version of this. I mean, this aircraft has got the bells and whistles with the retracts, the air brake, and the flaps.
Yeah, this one was it's the version 2 that we called of the original T-28, which you remember we did a while back, and then we did the yellow one, and this one has all those features. So it has the scale retracts with the gear doors. It's got the flaps. It's got the air brake.
Oh, wow.
It has 3-bladed scale propellers with the scale motor at the front. Originally, when we did it, it was it's one of the most scaled, I think, of all the Durafly models. It's close with all the bells and whistles and everything that works and operate, and the scale prop and everything else. With Durafly, we always like to do that next level. So with this one in particular, we did the air brake, and then we did all the other scale features plus the FPV cockpit. So that was the next thing to do. So I don't know, to backdate it wouldn't do it justice. I mean, I know it.
And actually, thinking back now, I'm like, to that question, is like, well, you've got 2 other belly landers coming out, so you're pretty and there you go, and you've got your Bixler line for training. It's funny. I'll sidetrack, but I had a good close friend who's a wing pilot come back and say, you know what, I need to work on my line of sight. Do you recommend a Bixler? And I'm like, yep, that's if you need to get your line of sight flying up, there are plenty of belly landers, right? So yes.
I think we've got another 5 belly landers coming, Andre. So,
oh, wow.
There you go, Chris.
Yes, belly lander.
You need to do a beer belly lander, like with a big guy.
Oh, geez.
More cushion for the landing. Absorb impact.
Come in with the 2 side tanks. There you go.
Oh, beer belly lander.
So the next belly lander would be after the Bonanza is going to be the next rendition of the EFX Racer. So
yes, V2.
Yeah.
So the original EFX Racer is back with a different color scheme, obviously, and a new power supply. So basically, I think we've spoken about this before, but we've basically got the EF Extra running gear and put it into the EFX Racer fuselage and wing, and that now gives us a faster aeroplane in the straight, but not in the corners. So if you wanted to compare the two, the EF Extra, the EF Extra is actually faster in and around bends, but the EF Extra is faster flat out. So it makes for a pretty good race because in the corners, what you have, your less speed for your straight and level, the corners make up. So it's a pretty good race. We've done it, so it works well. Nice. You can do that. Nice. So that and that's obviously nearly at that's very, very soon as well. So that's going to be out very, very soon as well. So,
Andre, real quick, the T-28 was probably absolutely one of my favorite airplanes, and that's the original Park Zone. I've talked about it a million times before. That's actually brought me back into the hobby when I got frustrated with it. But looking at that, I might have to check into this new T-28 with all the bells and whistles, because that was one of the very few airplanes here where we fly. Now, obviously, everybody knows we basically fly off of rough grass, but the T-28 was one of the few warbirds that could slow down enough, and we could actually do touch and goes in the parking lot with that. It was, especially if you got like a 10-mile-an-hour, wind, coming in a headwind, that thing would slow down enough you could do touch and goes and come down over the school. And it's always been, that plane was just always fun. You could come around, bank, drop the flaps, put it in, and
it had to look pretty cool doing that.
And it looked good. So I might have to check into a new T-28, because that was always has been one of my favorite airplanes for sure.
Cool. I was never big on the tricycle gear, but
I love the tricycle gear. Yeah. No, I actually, and the tricycle gear, honestly,
more forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah, because flying off the grass, you didn't have it didn't flip over like a normal warbird. That's another reason why I always liked the T-28. So, all right, Steve, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. The next one we can talk about is the big Spitfire.
Okay.
Big Spitfire. That's been, the big Spitfire has been around for a while now. Everyone's waiting for the big Spitfire to come. It was after the Grand Tundra, Bill Decker, wherever you are.
He asked a question. He's here.
Yeah, he's he put a lot of pressure on us with the Grand Tundra. Finally, Bill Decker says, "I just saw that. Thank you, Bill." It's definitely on the way. There is no conspiracy theory. It hasn't been dropped. It's still here. All that sort of stuff. So we're actually neat fair. There's Tom Hunt's going to have both of them on display. So that's very, very exciting. And also the team in the US have got both of them on display. The team in the UK is going to have both of them on display for the UK event. And they're actually box started to finish. They're ready to be done and shipped. All we're doing is there's no delay. All we're doing is just playing the waiting game as we always do with these products, because we've got shipping involved now. So as soon as they come out, trust me, they're going to be for sale. Everyone's going to get them. They fly fantastic. It's a Spitfire. We've all spoken about this before, how much I love Spitfires. They are the best airplane ever made by anybody. And this one is fantastic. So it's definitely coming on the way. I can cross that one off my list now, and I can go to the next one. Thank you. Yes, I'm actually working. I'm working off a list in case I get tired. That way I don't stray. So we're good. We're good.
Steve, another question about the Spitfire. Now we know this was something Stuart was very passionate about, and he literally has this thing down to the last rivet. Are you guys going to watch this to see how popular it is, or how this thing sells for maybe down the road? You're like, wow, we got to do another something of, getting that much detail. Obviously it's going to be a little bit more money because of what you guys have done as far as detail and everything and size. But is this something you're going to keep a close eye on to see if maybe you're going to do another one down the road?
Yeah. My thing is always to try and have a compromise. Like, obviously you want to have that scale detail and you want to have that next level, but there also has to be a compromise between functionality and usability and how it works, and production as well. So there's different factors that we have to take into account. This one's been a bit of a test for us. It's been an interesting project to get on the tail end of and to jump on and to work on it. And it's but as far as the scale goes with Avios, we're always going to have that product now, I think, that's going to have that scale detail or that next level or something that's going to be of interest. So we're pretty certain that it's going to go okay for us in regards to sales and in regards to the response from the community, because it is a cool plane. It is the best looking Spitfire that's ever been made in foam, without a doubt. Obviously the 1100 millimeter was good looking, but this is 1450 millimeter and the same, so there's no reason why it can't be the best looking one. Just say that out loud. But I'm a Spitfire fan, and I've got nearly every Spitfire made by every company, and I've looked at them all, and I can pretty much say that as far as scale goes, this is nearly exactly right. So there's obviously a few things that have to be changed because to make them fly. But it's awesome.
Now, when you guys start to get into this, and you kind of get it somewhat finalized or know what you're going to do, is that a harder process as far as mold wise to get them small little intricate details in the mold right, and is that an extra cost to do that?
Yeah, there's obviously, if there's changes involved that we do after the fact, then obviously that comes down to a mold change. So then it's going to be, and then it's that compromise of, do we change it in the mold or do we wait and release it and then, sort of fix it the next time we do an aeroplane. It might not have worked out, and then it comes to mold, and then we're like, do we delay it another month? Do we delay it another 3 months, 90 days before we get that fixed again? Yeah. So there's little things that come through, and obviously, like I said before, it's a compromise on scale and functionality as well. Yes. Like there's some airplanes out there that I'd love to do. Like I'd love to do a Wellington, but in foam, a Wellington, and trying to get those ribs right down the side and on the it's not going to work. It's going to look terrible. Gotcha. So I don't want to. And my grandfather flew in the Wellingtons, and the last thing I want to do is dishonour him. So it's not going to. But, like the C-130, for instance, like we had to compromise on the Fowler flap on the outboard of the flaps because the thickness of the wing isn't enough to put that flap in and to make it functional. But to give it flap, make it work, we've done like a semi-Fowler flap, and that works. It functions as a flap. It looks similar to the inboard Fowler flaps, but isn't a Fowler flap. So there's those compromises that have to be done through all those different stages of testing. The gear, the rear door on the C-130, we've only got the bottom section that opens, the top section doesn't go up to give you more space for a vehicle to come out and that sort of stuff. But it's a compromise we had to do to make it still work and ease on production. It's only one servo that works rather than having two and a gear or something like that. So. One
of our good friends, Fred Provost, just jumped on. He has just literally been dying for the C-130. So, Fred, I'm sorry to say the C-130 has been delayed probably another 6 months. So you're just going, no, I'm kidding. Kidding, Fred. Kidding. We're probably looking at maybe another 6 or 8 weeks, Fred. So save up your money, buddy. It's coming.
That's it. And it's coming as one of the pink angels. So
Fred's will be pink. I love it. Hilarious. So bad. I know.
Then obviously with talking back to the Sky Swords with H-King, we've got some new products coming through with H-King as well, which is going to be really cool. Some nice, civilian planes and some other stuff that Ian's been working on, because Ian's actually looking after the H-King brand. We work together, but Ian's the actual brand manager for that product. And so there's some new things and some exciting things coming out with H-King as well, which is pretty cool. And Kingcraft.
Yes, you'd mentioned that one. So yes,
Kingcraft is it's a difficult one. Kingcraft. It's the composite, the timber ARFs and that sort of stuff. It's a difficult market. We want to make sure that we get things extremely right when it comes to the timber models and the ARFs. So there's no delays, if you want to say that, because people will say there's zero delay. There's a lot of aeroplanes coming in production, and there's a few things that are going to be pretty exciting in Kingcraft. So that's Kingcraft. what else we got? The Albatross.
Oh,
the Albatross.
Yes.
The Albatross was an airplane that we released and showed at the NL event, or the Hobbyking Live EU event, and it was flying there, and someone took a video of it. That was that would have been a mold sample, or one of the first ones that we've had come out of the mold. So we're still a little bit of time away from that one there to get that one right. So there's a few little things that we're going to change on there. And it's back again at the UK event. So if you want to go and have a look at it, it's going to be on display. But as far as when is it due, when's it coming out, let's just say after the C-130 and after the Spitfire. Okay. Yeah. But no, the Albatross flies extremely well. It's actually got way too much power, if you believe that or not. It's got on 4S, it does hammerhead like stalls, and it shouldn't happen out of a longbow. It has unlimited vertical, and it'll do knife edge inverted. It's ridiculous. It's so much power. It's probably overpowered, but it's fun. Which is good when you're coming off water, because you can get on the plane nice and easy and take off. So that's that one there. Yeah, but it's and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. It should do off snow. It should fly off snow really nicely as well.
Yeah.
It'll do. It'll off grass. It performs really, really well. So off snow, it'd be absolutely fine. There'd be no problems at all. Yes. But that's about it, I think.
Sweet. Fred,
you got some questions coming in.
Fred, listen to us, Fred. We've if you join the program when it starts, you would find out all this information instead of hopping in here. Yes, we did get kind of an answer on the C-130. It is almost done with production and inspection, and will be on the water soon. So we're talking 6-8 weeks ish. So it's better than soon,
he's
Fred.
Like, we'll see.
Yeah, it's better than soon.
He's so critical.
And what I like about the price as well, and I've said this to a couple of guys in the when I was in the Netherlands, and I said to them, it's anywhere between $200 and $600
Yeah, 2 and 6. That's great.
So it falls into that bracket anyway. So
you might have to put it to the $600 just because it would fly out the door. The way you guys are advertising it. You got to limit your your abilities to make this thing.
Wow.
But to say it's going to be 3 to 4 months, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's if but like with the Spitfire, if we say it's going to be a certain day, then other people are going to go, you promised it on this day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you didn't, you didn't.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. And these things, some things are completely out of, like we had that, I've talked about it a couple of times, but we had some containers that were due. They didn't arrive because there was some tropical cyclone thing that stopped ships from moving in some harbour or something or other. And they didn't get released from their port, so basically it extended the shipping period to 12 weeks. So therefore, it kicked a fair way up on that particular release. But that's not what's happening here. We've been pretty open and we've spoken to many people on many forums, Facebook, RC groups.
Yeah,
you guys here. There's plenty of questions that have been thrown around.
Well, add Fred to that loop so he stays informed.
Look, I think. I've spoken to Fred on Facebook, and he's very passionate, and he wants an answer, which is cool because I'm passionate as well. And trust me,
right?
I want to see this airplane out in the market because I want to see people's faces when they fly it. Because we've all, like I said from the start, everyone has an involvement or an attachment with the C-130, whether or not it's an air show or you've worked on it or whatever it might have been. And everyone wants to fly this airplane around.
The anticipation is off the hook.
And I give you guys a lot of credit because Hobbyking is probably the only that I can think off the top of my head anyway, RC company out there that's really showing what you guys are doing way ahead of time. Giving teasers, showing some videos or clips or pictures or whatever.
Yeah. Like we know that we released the Spitfire and so on, and the Bushmule way too early, and that was an error. And the C-130 was released when we thought the time was right. And that's the time is still okay. And these other aircraft that we're bringing through, you know, where we know, like I've got one in the works now, which is it's at mould, and no one knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to tell anyone about this airplane until it's about to be released, and it is a cracker.
Ooh.
It is so good. That's all I'm going to say about this one.
Yeah.
And I've got another one which is coming through the system, and it is also fantastic. And
that's fantastic. Keeping count, guys.
Like, yeah, we got that ding. It goes. Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you know, we've got some.
Elaborate on that fantastic for us, please.
Well, this actually feeds into a comment that Bill Decker was asking. You know, are you going to be able to sustain your momentum? And I think some of the conversations we have, you're still working through some of the, you know, the backlist that you were presented with when you became manager of it.
Yeah, I've got like the not just the ones that are coming through at the moment, but so if you want to look at different, like rebranding of the older ones as well, like I've got some of those that are going to come back through again, like we did the Mark 24 Spitfire. We've got a few of them coming through. So that that Durafly did before, and we're going to do, you know, a rebrand, a couple of little changes here and there to make, you know, obviously colour schemes, and then to modernise some of those, you know, landing gear and some other bits and pieces. So excluding those ones, I think last count there was over 30 aeroplanes in different stages of production. So we're extremely busy. We've got a lot on, and it's a lot of fun to see these products coming through and a constant flow of different aeroplanes coming through. So it's very exciting times still. You know, it's it's a lot of fun, and to see some of it, like when I went over to the factories and we got to test fly some of the new planes.
We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, so Ian and myself went over and basically went to see our head office in Hong Kong, and then we dropped out to some of the factories, which was pretty cool. And we got to test fly some of our new planes and some of our up and coming stars, and one in particular, which was the first mould test that I got to fly, which is this awesome plane. And when I flew it, and I just sort of went like, this is pretty cool. So I was pretty excited about it. So yes, it's a good opportunity to see our factory and you know, to have the conversation with the guys that run the factories over there, and to go through some of the new products and to get some images for you guys as well. We did that with the C-130, and we released those photos. And it's good to see what they're at in different stages of production and what happens. And for myself, it was a good highlight because it's the first time I'd been there. So that was very cool. And, it gave me an appreciation of what happens and the processes involved. So, like, I had an understanding, but to see it firsthand is completely different. So, yes, very exciting.
You know, it's funny you bring up a really good point, because even in the last 5 years, what you guys and some of the other RC manufacturers are doing as far as performance, scale, looks, you know, everything. You know, a lot of times earlier, Mike, you can even attest, we've talked about like, oh my gosh, $200 for a plane, you know, or people would complain, that's a lot of. When you really sit down and break it down, like, you know, Steve, what you guys do as far as R&D, the time put in, you know, sometimes it takes a year or a year and a half or 2 years to get a plane finalized and in production, everything, and going over to the factory and seeing the actual process and the work and the painting and putting together and shipping and just the whole thing. If you really think about 200 or 250 or even 300, that's really a fantastic price. I'm going to say it in Steve terms. Fantastic price if you think about what goes into making an airplane, just a foam airplane.
I remember when I've got a big C Theory, and I did the colour scheme and everything on it, and I did all the markings, and I sat down and went through all the stencils and did all that, and I thought that was so painstaking and so annoying. And then when I went to the factory and I saw the factory line and they did that for a few hundred or a few thousand models, I was like, what am I whinging about?
Yeah.
My one airplane, I'm going to be quiet now.
Yes.
And covering iron. Like I've seen these guys that put the covering on these models, and they do it, and it's just like an art. I do it, and it takes me forever.
Yes.
And these guys just do it while they're in conversation. And I'm like, how do you do it so easy? So that I suppose it's all practice makes perfect, and they have all the right tools and all the right equipment, all that stuff. And one thing that blew me away was the paint molds, actually how they paint the models, which was fantastic. Once again, I'll say that word.
Yeah.
It the way, I've seen it before, and I've seen how they do it, but then when you actually see it work and how it functions, it's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting considering how many they actually do. So it's a good eye opener.
Right.
So we had a question talking more about your travel plans and what you have anticipating for 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, we've still got HK Live to do. We don't know. We're still in early stages for what we're doing next year. So we've got the Netherlands, which has been a great success in the last couple of years. So we'll definitely be back there again. Australia is an easy one because we're all based in Australia and our sales and marketing teams all over here. So that's an easy one to do for us as well. Whether or not we do it at the same location, we're always looking for new locations. So we're ready to do different things, but what they are, it's above my pay grade. So I just join in on the end of it most of the time and go along the ride and enjoy the atmosphere and the time that we're away. So for me to say what we're going to do next year, I really don't know yet. So I'll find out. I'll find out when you find out, I think. So.
Wow.
It's But I just saw Bill Decker ask me what's happening with my Fokker triplane. It's in my dad's garage. I haven't seen it for a while, so it'll probably stay there. I think I've got a Tiger Moth in between that, so I'm working on a Tiger Moth. So.
Nice.
Wow.
But as far as I think I'm coming to Texas.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Flight Fest in Texas.
But I think it's a personal trip, so I'm going to make my way over there and maybe come out and say good day. So that's a bit of fun. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So, but then again, it depends. I've just bought a monkey bike, so I've got to pay for that now. So you guys are going to buy a monkey bike. It's the best thing you're ever going to do. It's fantastic. It's the best bike ever. So I don't know if you've seen these things. Honda's released the new monkey bike for 2018.
Yes,
it's a 125cc.
Yep, I have seen them. Absolutely.
What is it? Electric bike?
No. It's a small. I don't know how you want to put it. Like better than a. That's it.
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Yeah, that's kind of like what a monkey bike. I got a couple friends really, really interested in them. I was just looking at them. Now I'm a motocross guy myself, but they said, man, these things are a lot of fun to just get out and tinker around on.
Well, it's that much. It's that cool. I don't even have a bike license yet. So, but I'm
good luck in obtaining that. Hopefully, the course isn't as hard as here in Ohio. Watching me do that course, if they had that on video, it went viral. I was like a clown on a unicycle going through that obstacle. And when she said I passed, everybody's jaws dropped. Like, how did he just pass? He looked like a freaking idiot going through this course because I didn't put my foot down. I knew that, like, if you put your foot down, there's more deductions there than you can't recover from. So the whole time I'm not putting I had my idle high, my visor was fogged. I mean, everything that could go wrong. I was like with the handlebars, swiping them back and forth, keeping my balance. Oh my gosh. And other guys that kind of like went in real smooth, just put their foot down for a second, and they couldn't recover. And I'm like, how did he not pass? Yeah, like, awesome. And here I am, like on a unicycle going through here, and she gives me my license. She's like,
I said, we don't want this guy back. Just like, get him out of here.
She even looked. She's going through the point. She's like, I don't know how, but you passed. Oh my God. See ya. I'm like waving at everybody as I'm riding away.
Beep, beep.
She's like giving me all these odds. This isn't your bike, is it? I'm like, oh, I've had it for 6-8 months. This is all I practice on. She's like, oh Lord.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but it definitely was a funny story.
Yeah, Fred made a good point. It's an adult size Z50. That's a good analogy there, Fred.
Yeah, but I don't think it's for adults. I think it's for us grown-up kids.
So, yeah, that's true.
It reminds me of those old bikes, like the fat, were they called Fat Cats or something? Way back in the day.
The fat,
like
yeah,
the 80s,
I know what you're talking about.
Big fat tires.
Those things
reminds me of that a little bit.
Them things were horrible back in the day. Horrible. Them Fat Cats.
My only problem is I don't know how I'm going to strap an airplane to my back and go to the flying club.
Hey, you talk about that back in the day. At flight tests when we used to do, if you remember, Mike, Eric Monroe used to ride his bicycle and strap planes on the back of that. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, and I don't know how he did it, but he did. Yeah. So
he had to put the wings back upside down, so
he didn't get lift,
force, right? Downforce to the pavement.
Yep. I remember that. All right. Anything else, Steve, you wanted to add?
No, someone just asked, is there a Hobbyking C-17 follow-up planned? Man, that's interesting. I can't remember if we did I think we did a C-17 years ago. Wow. But no, C-17, we looked at, many different aircraft with multiple engines. And let's just say there's a few twins in the system. Whether or not they're the same vein as a C-17, I don't think so. But anyway, it's But there's a few twins coming through, which is exciting. Yeah. Did you mean C-17? Yeah, could be.
Well, so David's military, so that's probably the question why. Globemaster. Actually, that
C-17 Globemaster. Yeah. Holy.
Oh, that'd be a big EDF. Mind you, we'd take an airliner in a heartbeat, right, Chris?
Yeah, that's the other thing, Steve. I don't know if that's something you've even looked at. We were talking a while back. Somebody was flashing some old pictures of the e-flite airliner that they had back in the day, and we were like, why doesn't somebody else bring out something like that?
The Toledo show brought that to mind, seeing some of those too.
Yeah, that was a fantastic airplane for the day.
Someone just recently, I can't remember the company now, but someone's just released a CNC prototype of a 747.
Oh, wow.
But from reading the specs, I don't know who it is, but it's 3-meter wingspan by 3 meters long and takes 4 6,000 6-cell batteries.
Oh, forget it. No.
Oh, my God.
No.
You're flying a concrete brick of battery there.
No.
Where do you land it? Right?
Yeah. You have to go to a real airport with a real one. 32.
Calling the tower.
Yeah.
Clearance.
Need a 3,000-foot runway.
I think one 6-cell battery. If say for instance, if you use a graphene, I think it's around about 900 grams per battery.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I don't know, my calculation is
3,600 grams. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.6 kilos of batteries.
No. If that thing crashed, it'd be like a bomb going off.
You hope it doesn't nose into you, that's for sure.
No, but I would love to see, just like a 737 or an Airbus, twin-engine EDF airliner. The retracts have gotten so good nowadays, too, especially, like the original airliner didn't even have retracts, just had them big, ugly wheels hanging down, but it still looked and sounded so cool in the air. I'm just really... if you guys, Steve, can do a C-130, you would have no problem doing an airliner, I don't think.
Yeah, but I think to do an airliner properly, you've got to go like there was Wind Rider had a 737.
Yep.
I think it was 2 meter wingspan, and that was a decent size for an airliner.
Right,
but it's still it's a 2 meter. It's an expensive model when it comes to molding fees and costs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got to try and ship this massive box, and then it'll probably come in 2 boxes because it's so big. There's all these things that come into account. It's
nice. Okay, yeah.
Am I mistaken? But is it harder to scale down airliners or not?
I don't know.
Scale them down,
to get them to fly right.
Yeah, to get them to fly right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, there's always your hardship with those. But
any airplane that has that has a wing that's designed for economy, so it's a high-speed wing.
Mm-hmm.
So any of those small, those small business jets, or any of those, the G600s or whatever they may be, those business jets. Yeah. You're looking at a wing that's extremely, designed for economy and for speed. And to make that in foam, a thin wing that flies really fast. And, it's just a really, really hard thing to do. And to make it look good. You don't want it to look out of proportion.
Sure.
It's a tough one. There was...
So some of those new Airbuses might actually not even be possible if you got really, because their wings are getting narrower and and the flex technology built into that stuff.
Yeah,
that's it. So, if you were to do something, then we'd be looking at
I would just think if e-flite could have, for 15 years ago, back in the day, that was a pretty cool. Even as today's standards, looking at it doesn't look that bad, and I think. Even then, back then, it was an EPS plane, so if you did crash it, it disintegrated. Yeah. But if you got something fairly close to that, I would take that with some retracts on it. I would take an Airliner.
Oh, yeah. I think someone just wrote up there that HSD did the 747. So it must be what the 747 was. I just saw it and just went, that's ridiculous. That's massive. Like 3 meter wing model, man. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's next level. But, if they can pull it off and do it, man, then I want to see it. Yeah. I'll do it in Qantas colours all day and have it flying around. Or Air Force One, and
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Andre, did you post the Dash 8 comment there? What's funny? You say Dash 8, but the original, what was the not the Bush Mule? What was the one before that? The Sky Mule.
Mule.
That was kind of sort-ish Dash 8. A little bit, I think personally, I'd buy a Dash 8 for sure. Something different. Interesting.
I don't know. In this current political climate, I don't know if we can talk about the Dash 8 yet. I don't think we're ready to talk about the Dash 8. Because All
right. I think that's about it. Unless go ahead.
There's one aeroplane that I would love to do, and I don't think it's been done before, is the Beaufighter. So whoever does the Beaufighter, they'll have my money for sure. So that aeroplane is sensational, and it's there's been plenty of twins, but the Beaufighter's been missed out on them. And Alpha Models did it years and years ago, and I had that model. And if anyone's listening, any other companies out there that make RC planes, I'll be a buyer of your Beaufighter when you build it.
Cool.
That's one airplane I'd love to do is a Beaufighter. So there you go. If there's any airplanes out there that I'd love to do, that's definitely one.
Sweet.
It sounds like you're in the right element to possibly achieve that desire someday.
Yeah, but I obviously got to go and put my ideas to my boss has to approve it
and all that. Yeah, I understand.
There's airplanes that I'd love to do. Like the Mosquito is another airplane I'd love to do. That's another. It's been done before a couple of times, but never done right. So I'd love to do it right. But the shape's always been a little bit off. But and that goes back to the conversation we had before about scale features and functionality and how it works as well and how it flies. And there's got to be a bit of a give and take. So.
This is a fantastic idea, Steve. David Ray Jones just said, if you guys have the Bixler made, the Russo should be the beginner EDF plane. That is a fantastic idea. I love it. The Russo beginner EDF. Yes. Make a note of that, Steve. Write that down. Russo beginner EDF. I love it. Love it. Fantastic.
The beginner EDF. What
the Russo beginner EDF. Oh, that cracks me up. I love it. That is
Bill Duck would buy one. Nice.
Yes.
Or the Mosquito or the Russo. That's funny. That is funny. We'll have to sit down and discuss what that airplane might look like. Might be a little bit of a Simpson-mobile kind of thing. Just sit there and go, okay, it's too expensive to produce. It goes out of business.
All these safeguards.
At the moment, I think it'd have one busted leg.
One missing retract.
One retract just doesn't go up.
It's optional. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's intermittent.
Right.
Depends
what day of the week.
It just collapses.
Depends how many beers
like
it
the
had.
Crazy 8 or the.
Oh boy!
Oh, poor Andre.
I like the randomness of the gear work.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Oh shoot!
I'm drinking water.
You see a guy just switching the gear. Come on,
come on, Russo! You can do it.
Gimping it along.
Oh man.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah. And someone asked about the how about a constellation? That'd be interesting. That's another thing too. It's got a very thin wing and that sort of stuff. So yeah, the Constellation's always a good looking airplane.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll put that on the list.
Write it down.
He's taking notes, guys. put your suggestions
great
in
ideas.
quick.
Yeah. See what happens, Steve, when you come on the show? We give you great ideas.
Yeah.
That's right. I get the Russo beginner EDF, and it'll come out in the Mike edition, which is all pink.
He's not laughing over here. Oh, I love it.
What did he just say?
He said he's going to bring out the Russo Mike edition in all pink.
Oh God, no! Please no!
Oh, this is
I
great.
beg of you.
Oh man,
yeah. I can't deal with it, man. I will be in a corner crazy if something comes in hot pink.
Whew. Oh. All right. On that note, Steve.
I used to think green was my most detested color, but it's quickly hot pink.
Hot pink is good there,
my most hated color now.
That's funny.
All right, Steve.
That's great.
I think we're going to let you go so you can go get some sleep. Fantastic time hanging out. I love talking to you and giving us updates on what's coming down the pike. And, we got some questions answered, I think, about roughly a good idea when these planes are coming out. And so we always appreciate it.
And definitely be looking out for the Shusui video. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And also the new T-28 video, which is the music is fantastic. I'll just say it's a 1980s TV show we've used the theme from, and it is sensational.
Sweet.
So it's up to you guys to have a think about the 1980s and what TV show had the best soundtrack.
I would like to guess on those ones. That'd be fun.
I don't know. 80s TV show. That'd be tough.
Give
us a little hint. Just maybe a little hint.
Or an actor or something.
Was there a mustache?
Oh. Is there a mustache?
There had to be a mustache from the 80s, Andre. There's no way around that. Oh, that's good.
It's not Miami Vice or something.
The
Brady Bunch.
You're on the right track with the mustache.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
That's it's pretty cool, but it's a lot of fun doing that video.
Tom Selleck shows now. Magnum PI or something.
All right, Steve.
Oh, Bill.
Oh, he's on to something.
Oh, what was that, Bill? Magnum PI.
I just said that too. I didn't even see his comment. When you said mustache, that was the first thing I thought of, though.
So it's very exciting.
Cool. Michael made a comment. He wanted to know, does anyone else not like to fly RC planes that are not scale? I've always hated...
two negatives. I don't know. That means it's a positive thing.
He says, I have always hated planes that were... see more comments here. Were not scale.
Not molded after.
It doesn't matter to me. If it's a good-looking plane... and it flies well, and I like the color, I could care less if it's scale or not.
He says, I've always hated planes that were not molded after real scale planes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys like that.
Well, he uses a lot of negatives. I don't know if he's saying a positive thing or a negative thing.
Yeah.
Double negatives.
But you have a look at the Tundra, and it's not actually after an airplane at all. It's a bit of a blend of a few different airplanes.
Right.
And it doesn't really exist. It's not a scale airplane whatsoever. It's definitely what we call a slash plane, and yet it's perfect in size. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I think the trick to the scale thing is always making sure, particularly like in the warbirds, is that you've got that power for when you get into a situation. It's all you have the extra envelope and the power to pull yourself out of something, right? Because we all do something where we're like, whoops.
Oh yeah.
And if it's scale power, you're like, well, this is done because I'm not going to be able to rotate over and get up, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to need 30 feet of runway to take off with scale power too, probably, or 40 or 50.
It's funny. I always had to have scale planes, and it always had to be scale this and scale that. And then my son, when I started to get him into the hobby, I went and bought I think it was a SIG Senorita, like that black and red training plane, and that's completely not scale, and yet I've had more fun flying that than, that plane is fantastic. But it's one of those balsa kits we put together, and it's scale, it's a big thing. I love it.
Yep, for sure. I mean, yeah. All right, Steve. Again, we're trying to get you out of here, get some sleep. I apologize, but thanks again for coming on, giving us all the information. We definitely look forward to talking to you again soon, maybe when some of these planes start rolling out, and we can see how the sales are going.
Yeah, well, the next podcast, I'll have a studio to work at, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh,
so
sweet.
I'll be what's that?
No, go ahead. You got a new studio?
I'll be actually at a studio, and you'll be able to see some airplanes that I'm talking about, and you'll actually see my head on the screen, which is fantastic.
Oh,
so that's all good news.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah. Could you limit your paint schemes
to
exclude hot pink in the upcoming models, please?
Next time we have them on, we're going to put the whole studio in hot pink planes, Mike, just for you.
Please limit that color selection from your palette.
I will be, without a shadow of a doubt, I'll be in my studio dressed in pink.
Yes!
Pink everything.
Yes.
I'll put blinders on. I'll have blinders like this the whole podcast.
I'll wear my pink t-shirt too.
Oh, Lordy. Please, guys, don't do this to me.
That's funny.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be great. All right, Steve, once again.
All right. No worries, guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll definitely be talking to you soon. Take care. Go out and make us some more airplanes.
Yes.
All right, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Take care, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. There you have it. Steve Neal from Hobbyking. What a great guy to talk to. Fun, absolutely. Passionate. I love it. So there you have it. Andre, let's see.
I subjected my son to Crocodile Dundee. Was on TV yesterday. This one, an oldie but a goodie.
That's
you gotta make your kids watch some shows, that you enjoyed through the years.
Real quick, Andre, let's see. How long have we been going here?
Almost.
I got a couple things I want to talk about real quick. One is we'll talk about it first. The Horizon Viper jet. Of course, I want to mention the new Mavic 2 that come out. We'll breeze over that. And I have a fantastic crash story to read for you guys for the very end. No, it's not your bike crash, Mike, so don't worry about it. It's not you.
Oh, man.
No, it's an actual RC crash story. I don't know if Andre read it in the email, but, oh, man, I was like, wow, it's a good one. So, Andre, let's start by the Horizon Viper jet. Now,
so
go ahead.
That is funny because, man, that thing came out, and I'm working away, and my phone explodes, and it's like, no, how is this possible? No, it was funny. Our fans are the best because I was just getting message after message after message on this subject, and I was giggling, going, well. That's exactly what we thought it would be.
Yeah.
So, carry on.
Yeah, we just talked about Horizon hasn't brought out a jet for a while, and I mean literally days after the podcast, they released the e-flite Viper 70mm EDF jet. Now, to be fair, what I wanted Andre to talk about a little bit, it is an e-flite jet with all their stuff in it.
It's an FMS.
Yes, but you are correct, Andre. It is actually an FMS. FM. Oh, jeez, whiz. Anyway, FM.
But yes.
Go ahead.
The point is, they did it. Yes, it's an FMS jet. It's been out for, I'd say, almost a year.
Yes.
The FMS one is blue. Mm-hmm. The difference is, obviously, it's got its AS3X receiver. The price is nice. Yes. And it does have flaps. I think the FMS Viper does not come with flaps installed, right. Which is why I picked the Yak from FMS, which I still haven't flown, but And
I do like the paint scheme better on the e-flite one, personally.
Oh yeah.
It's nice looking jet.
Yeah, it's got some. It caught me. It's got a pilot, yes, but all the FMS planes have pilots, so
that's a given.
I'm just adding. Yeah, that's a given. I'm actually. It's funny as I've been going, because we've had requests for show notes, so I'm adding it to the show notes.
So while you're doing that, I'll just read a little bit about it. First high-performance EDF electric ducted fan jet with safe select technology. Best choice for a first EDF jet model because it's easy to take off, fly, and land. Scale jet model, incredibly smooth sport plane handling, and amazing aerobatic capability. 12-blade 70mm fan delivers excellent top speed, vertical performance, plus turbine-like sound. Factory installed high-power 6-cell compatible brushless motor and 70-amp ESC. Functional and installed flaps, like Andre mentioned, for shorter takeoff and landings, plus improved slow flight performance. Fast and precise factory installed digital Metal Gear servos with ball links. That's a plus. Steerable nose wheel, electric retracts with sprung wire struts for operation in very variety of surfaces. And of course, the Spectrum 6-channel receiver with the optional use of safe select flight envelope protection. No glue required for assembly. Can be ready to fly in less time it takes to charge a battery. Blah, blah. Okay, so full range. 6-cell, 3,200 to 4,000, 30+ C LiPo battery with an EC5 connector. I'll give you some specs here real quick if you guys want to know the size. Ready to go in under an hour. Flight time is around 4 minutes, which is typical for a warbird. 4.2 to 4.4 pounds or 67 to 70 ounces. The length is 40.4 inches or 1,225 millimeters. 70 amp ESC. And the wingspan is 43.3 inches or 1,100 millimeters. Go ahead, Mike.
It's typical for a ducted fan, not a warbird. You said warbird.
Oh, I'm sorry.
4+ minutes.
Yeah. 4 minutes. So there you have it. They took an FMS jet. New color scheme, added some flaps. It is a nice looking jet, and I will say I watched the video on it, Mike.
The video was awesome.
Yeah, they did a good job.
The soundtrack. Like most of the time, I mute Horizon's videos because the music they picked to edit is just painful. But this one was a good video, and obviously the pilots have been having a lot of fun because they were doing some crazy maneuvers.
Yeah.
I love the e-flite flying spot with that runway. At first, I was like, "Hey, is that where pilot Ryan and crew fly out of?" But obviously, no, it's a different location. But gosh, I love that, and they were flying the heck out of these things and having a really good video time with it. So
yeah, some really cool formation flying. One was inverted, flying close, and just the speed of that. I was actually impressed with the jet, honestly, but it is on 6-cell, and that thing hauls the mail. So
so it's and we had this someone questioned that earlier in the show, and 6S is I've got one battery sitting over there, but it is one of those things that I guess you have to justify that you want to get into. I have multiple aircraft now all of a sudden, so I'm not too, it's not too painful. But like we said in previous shows, when you go to 6S, you got to make sure your chargers are up to the job, your power supplies are up to the job, and it's a lot of money for a single pack. I know a lot of people who they'll just, they'll merge to 3S batteries, to run them in series, which is fine. But if you have a pack go down, well, either way, the risk is all the same. So, but it's flying jets is interesting. Flying EDFs is, and when we're asked about it, things like start off at 4S, and just try it out and see if you like it. Some people I know will come back and go, you know what, this is more stress than I care to do in my flying hobby, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to fly something nice and slow or predictable, and then you get into a jet and it's take off, run. Okay, now I better figure out if I can land this puppy.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is too. 3, 4, 5 years ago, the same jet this size, they were running on 4-cell, and even back then, 4-cell were like, oh my gosh, I got to buy a 4-cell battery and blah blah blah, and that has completely changed to where now this size jet 6-cell is the norm. I mean, that's just the way it is, and obviously it's better.
It's like $80 a battery, $60 to $80 a battery, and yeah. Wow. But hey, congrats! It's awesome they did it. I'm sure it flies fantastic. I know it flies fantastic because I was looking at the Viper. RC Informer had done a video with the Viper, and I was really impressed with how it went. But I was sitting there going, FMS, why would you not put the flaps in?
Yes.
Yes. And I put the FMS link in there. The dollar value between the two of them, if you get this thing on sale, the FMS one is what, $230 US. For $250 you get it, and even if you're not a Spectrum guy, you rip out that receiver and sell it to someone, right?
Yeah.
You can go with whatever. But good that they did it.
Yep.
I wouldn't call this my first EDF.
No.
I think if we're being asked that question, you're going to want you're going to want another jet. You're going to want a 4S jet. And so I wouldn't even say the Sky Sword. So I guess we'd go right back to the de Havilland Viper and say that is a really nice tricycle landing gear, EDF 4S, super predictable, can be belly landed in an emergency, So I think that's if you want to look and plot your steps, right? You probably would go, 4S. You'd probably start off with your Viper, and then go to something like the Sky Sword, which is a lot more slippery. And then if you're serious about it, then you step up. And there's just so many options. And dollar for dollar is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I keep laughing. Steven says first EDF should be the Russo. That's funny.
That is awesome. And started something here, people.
I know. People got to realize too, even though this has a safe system on it, and you're more of a beginner. What are you laughing at? That's the Russo. Even though when you push that button, these EDFs are still fast. And then, that thing might go straight and level, but still that thing can get out of sight really quickly or head for a tree because it's going straight. So it does help you in that first instance, but after that, you better get your crap together.
And quickly.
Yeah, because
your line of sight is so
right. Them trees and poles and buildings come up real quick on a jet
like you said, your perspective becomes a dot.
Yeah, and you're
even if you don't have an obstacle, you got the dot then to deal with out there.
Right. Yeah. So
and you're on a ticking time. You're
battery life.
3 minutes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good points.
Real quick, too, I know Steve touched on it. Let me pull it back up. But I wanted to give the specs because it's actually out now. It's the Durafly Mitsubishi J8M Shusui, or however you pronounce that. What a weird name. But I think this is a really cool aircraft. The color scheme they did with the orange and silver, it's a beautiful looking aircraft. But I just wanted to mention it real quick, talk about it. Durafly has based this model on one of the development planes that had a striking orange and silver color scheme, which is combined with a highly detailed molded EPO foam, strong carbon reinforcement, and features a color-matched hard plastic belly skid. The J8M still has a blistering performance of the earlier ME-163 with a wide track dolly for easier ground handling and takeoff. Comes with all electronics pre-installed, requires you to hook up your own 6-channel receiver. Easy to build with few parts put together. Big hatch gives access to the battery bay and electronics. This plane, now mind you, listen to this. This plane is designed with a more experienced pilots in mind. It has incredible flight performance and is stable throughout the complete speed range. Full power climb outs, virtually unlimited vertical, huge loops, blistering rolls, very fast passes are easy at full throttle and at slower speeds. It is just as stable with no hint of a stall. Recommended batteries, I think Steve mentioned 2200, 30 to 65C, 3-cell LiPos, 6x4 prop. So this is something that, cost-wise, it's cool looking, relatively cheap, takes standard batteries. If you want more punch, you can put a 1300 to a 2200 4-cell, 30C or up battery and really get this thing going. So it's pretty cool. And wingspan is only 37.4 inches, 950 millimeters. Length is 23 inches, 585 millimeters. The weight, 1,220 grams. That's with electronics and battery, 40 amp ESC, 2836, 2200 kV Outrunner, 6x4 prop. And it comes with an extra prop. That's fantastic. I wish all planes would do that. So there's 2 included. 2 metal geared 9-gram servos, 1 9-gram for the rudder, and just takes a 6-channel aileron elevator, throttle, rudder, and gear for the dolly. And your optional rocket switch, which I'm glad they kept that in. If anybody haven't seen that, go back and watch some of the older HK videos with the original ME-163 Comet. They did. I love that video they did with that. So if you want an idea, and maybe they're going to do that again when the new video rolls out for the new one. So
can
to be
in a picture again of it.
Yep.
And like click on the second one so I can see. Yeah. Or one
for some reason the pictures aren't coming up, but I don't know why. That's kind of odd.
So they're not working, darn it.
I wonder why. I wonder if let me refresh it once and see if the picture comes up. A couple people want to see it. No. I don't know why the picture's not going to come up, so I'm not going to pull it up on the big screen. Weird. All right, anyway. Bill says this plane should require a vision test to fly it. That's probably true, Okay, last thing we want to talk about real quick. And I don't know a lot about it just from reading it, but your buddy Justin that we've had on the show before, he actually bought one. Do you know which one he bought? We're going to talk about the Mavic 2.
But it wasn't, he had zoom capability, though, he said on it. So I don't know if it was the zoom or what's the difference? One had a better camera, I know he said.
Well, one of them has a better camera, larger sensor, and the other one has the same size original size camera, but it has the zoom.
He has the zoom.
4-time lossless zoom FHD video. Okay, now, Andre, what do you do in this situation? Like, they come out and I looked at them and I was just like, damn it, DJI. Like, I want the one with the better camera. But I want the zoom. Like, what do you do in this? Because
he went with the zoom.
He went with the zoom
because he told me that.
Especially I love doing the air-to-air stuff like we used to do, and the zoom would just be absolutely phenomenal. I think we're doing the the air-to-air stuff that we do.
And if I remember correctly,
I think you're gonna have to wait.
Options, he said the zoom, so they're not even at the same price point.
They're fairly close though. The one with the better camera is a little bit more money actually, but I was just like,
you want the best of both.
Yeah,
and that will be the Mavic 3.
But I'm like, way to go, DJI. They're just like
confuse the market.
Yeah, they got you. They got you. So I honestly at this point, like if I had that option and I'm on the fence of really I'd like to have something newer. Mine's getting pretty old. Plus I got to send it in and get it fixed yet. But I like the portability of the Mavic 2. I think they've really come around and again, the only big problem, Andre, I have with this is I can't use my regular goggles. You have to use the DJI goggles with this. And they're $500
screens, I know.
Yeah, they're $500 and some dollars, and I just like, that's a little frustrating for me.
Well, ironically enough, I'm just looking now. The Mavic 2 Pro, you can bundle with the goggles for like $400 odd, but $500.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I sat and I watched the demo video, which had a very Apple feel to it.
Yes.
Mavic 2 zoom. So I think I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. So my issue with the zoom, I'm going to have to rewatch the video, but what happens when you zoom in all the way? Are you going to start seeing some oscillation and stuff like this versus that crazy lens on the Pro?
Yeah, I don't know. Because there are certain situations, again, like I said, our air-to-air stuff that we do, the zoom would absolutely be phenomenal. Because there's times we get fairly close, and with that zoom, it would look like we were, have a camera like 2 inches away from the wing, and I think it would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, but can you scale? If you shoot at 4K, can you just scale in and zoom in on the, from that perspective, right? Like, is the zoom going to make your, But the thing is, if you zoom in on your plane, the moment you do any kind of move, like the moment you do any kind of pan, that action is magnified and amplified by the, by like a huge amount. So as soon as if you're chasing Mike flying, and you go and you do a bit of a turn or something, it's going to look like a jerk. There's no way you're going to be able to smooth that out and make it still have that flow that we love with the Phantoms, right?
Oh, I have to agree with you. It would be something you'd have to play with and get used to. But like I'm
thinking the zoom might be better for stationary things. I don't know. I don't know.
Well. Yes and no.
They have obstacles, you know what I mean?
Right, but like
in your way that you can't come in.
For instance, if you know how we do the chase thing, if we're on our long straight leg, a lot of times I can get on that straight leg, get fairly close. So I think it would be cool, you zoom in on that plane on the straight leg and just get super close, and you see the fine details, and then you're coming into the turn, you zoom back out and you follow it through. I just think the options you would have with that zoom, for a chase plane, personally, once you got adjusted to it, I'm
thinking more like the Rotor Riot when they flew to that Monkey Island. Like they could zoom in on the monkeys more so than another aircraft and trying to stay centered on it.
For general overall flying, I don't know if I would use the zoom that much, honestly. That's where I would like the Mavic 2 Pro with the better camera, the better quality. So I'm on the fence. The quality-wise, you're not... For chasing airplanes, it would be fine.
Pointed out, and I can't remember. It's driving me nuts, but the controller pinches a little bit on some. I can't remember what connection it is on the side of that controller. And he made gripes to him directly, like they could, or somewhere where there was that's what it was. The handle would catch a switch.
Oh,
like
really?
When you maneuvered it.
Huh.
And he's like, why didn't they put the switch somewhere else on the right side of that controller? I'm sure they're limited on real estate on that small controller, but we thought there was better options there. And then he said also there's like a little switch on the side for like sport mode. There's three modes. So it's a quick selection now, as opposed to going through your menus and trying to figure it out on your screen, which was nice. But
right.
Some features I know we talked about.
So real quick, I'll just run through some of the newer features they have. Of course, the 2 Pro has a new 1-inch CMOS sensor, 10-bit D-Log color profile, HDR video, adjustable aperture,
and somehow it can like project movement and orient around obstacles as you're moving. Like he was trying to describe it to me. I don't know if I understand.
Yeah, they got some new. I guess the tracking on these are way better. Yeah, they can actually track something like Andre. If there's something going to be in between the object you're tracking, whether it be a tree or something, that it'll physically go around the tree and continue to track that obstacle.
So it's starting to anticipate.
It has sensors galore on it. That's all I know.
In the Mavic 2 Zoom, it has the original camera that the original Maverick came from, but it does have the 4-time zoom, including 2-time optical zoom, 24 to 48 millimeter. The Mavic 2 Zoom is all about dynamic perspective. Capture everything from wide angle to mid-range shots for even more creative options. And of course, if you go watch the video, it'll that they have on their website, it'll show you the difference. Mike, you're probably looking at it here now, showing the difference between the 24 and the 48. It's cool features. The one they're showing, they're out filming some animals. It's amazing, Andre, the 4 times. It's considered a 4-time lossless zoom. gives you closer array of faraway objects, making unique scenes more accessible to capture at a distance. This option also helps you maintain a safer distance from buildings, vehicles, animals, and people.
That's funny they use the animals, which is what came to my mind right away. Like monkeys and stuff.
Well, they're increasing the sensor size. So they've got a clear path with their flying technology. So now they're focusing in on the sensor technology in the camera. So it to me, what it looks like is they got obviously they got a sweet deal, and they hooked up with what's the manufacturer's name? Sorry, give me a second.
Begins with an H.
Hasselblad, thank you. Obviously they hooked up a sweet deal, and I bet in the same time they were like, okay, we need our backup plan, but other people want this, but like, why couldn't we put it into one camera, right?
Yeah.
If you are chasing, Steven says, if you were chasing a plane, why would you ever worry about zooming to get away from the actually backing off from the airplane? Because the problem when you're in too close, it's kind of, I've done it before too, and you're trying to anticipate things. It's amazing how annoying it is to get, how to get a stable shot. So if you can back the machine, the chase copter off, and then zoom in a little bit, but not lose the resolution.
Or lose a craft.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize is it's such a big wide angle lens. You got to get so close to those planes to get that close feel.
It's such like a fisheye effect,
and a lot of times unless it's you got to have a good pilot that knows what they're doing. It's got to be a very calm day, again, because people don't realize if it's bumpy how much those planes bump up and down, left and right.
But from your camera angle,
it's
very noticeable.
Crazy. So to be able to stay back a little bit and work that zoom,
safety, and I'm able to focus on the shots.
And I'm sure the zoom is just like the rest of the. I haven't dug in to know exactly, but I'm sure it's just like the camera when it's tilting. You can adjust the speed on it, so you can make that nice fluid flow in and out. But to be able to hang back, 10 feet or whatever, and work that zoom.
That's why Justin picked this option, and I'd probably be on the same boat. I would be going with the zoom feature over the better quality.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like your quality of cameras are getting so much. I don't even have a viewing platform to really enjoy what these cameras are able to record on. I mean, it's like it's getting beyond what people have in their house, it seems.
Right.
To really enjoy it.
So, Steven, for me, the zoom, definitely. But I have noticed, even my old Phantom 3, like the original camera or the one on the zoom, it's to me, Andre, and tell me if I'm wrong, but the camera, even on the older Phantom 3, I can notice it's quite a bit better as far as color and quality and everything, as far as the original Mavic. So again, that's where I'm kind of torn between. The zoom would be fantastic, but I want that better camera too. Why couldn't they just incorporate it into one?
Both.
I still think the zoom camera is going to be very
popular.
Quality as well.
It's going to be good. Don't get me wrong.
I don't even know the differences, but I mean, unless you're serious about production level, how good of camera do you need? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, Dolly Zoom is a new quick shot for the Mavic 2 Zoom, offering an otherworldly perspective in a full integrated drone. Dolly Zoom automatically adjusts focus when flying, which is fantastic, adding to the intense warping visual effect to your video. When flying manually, you can also set proper focus, speed values, or even more to create different shots. So, Mike, see what they're doing with the zoom on there? Yeah. That's kind of cool. They're zooming in. It's cool features. Super resolution.
There's so many features. I get lost in it all. I mean, I even told Justin, you at least have familiarity with all the features from your earlier models. I'm like, it's constantly building on that knowledge too, and having more features. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's hard to jump in all at once to so many features on a craft.
I was just looking at the specs here.
Yeah.
I mean,
what I like the most in their demo was that HDR photo thing where it will actually it will fly and it will do bracket exposures, so you can get some amazing photos. You just take this photo,
Yeah.
So those things, and that's using the sensor. And that's being smart.
He said there's also internal memory, so if you forget an SD card, it's not a lot.
It's got a little bit of
memory that if you do forget a card, you can get some shots. I knew Chris would probably like that.
Oh yes.
Forgetting our little
dude, you know
card
how many
and
times,
not be able to even take a picture.
How many times?
Yes.
Kidding me? I've went out and oh my gosh, yeah.
And he said his battery charger came with whatever he opted for. It got 3 batteries, but the charger had 1 blank spot. It can charge up to 4 on the charger.
Oh really?
4 batteries.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. My big charger for the Phantom can do that as well. I can charge 4 batteries on it, so 1 at a time, but at least I can.
Because looking at the video resolution, even that, reading it here between the two, so basically you're just getting a bigger sensor, so you're going to just have a little bit better quality with the bigger sensor. But even the resolution, they shoot the same 4K 3840 by 2160 at up to 30 frames a second. Max video bit rate, they're both at 100. Color mode, this is a little bit different. On the 2 Pro, you got, and I don't know, Andre, you probably know more about this than I do. You got D-Log-M 10-bit support HDR video. And then on the Zoom, you have D-Cinelike, which I couldn't tell you the difference between those two, to be honest with you. Other than that, looking at the specs, they're exactly the same. So, man, I don't know. That's tough.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
I think we would all agree we like the Zoom lens. I think the Hasselblad lens is probably pretty spectacular, but for us, I think the Zoom would just work.
We'd get more benefits.
Yeah,
out of that.
I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit. Real quick too, if you guys want to know, of course you can go to the website and check it out. But price wise, the Mavic 2 Pro is $1449. Or the Zoom is $1249. So the Zoom is a little bit cheaper, and they do have bundle packs. Like if, Andre was saying if you want the Mavic 2 Zoom and the goggles is $1698, which that's probably something I would have to lean towards.
Yeah.
Because I love flying with the goggles in certain situations.
You're definitely more absorbed into your shots.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this one would warrant the goggles. I mean, I haven't even tried it with my Phantom.
It's
with
just
the
so frustrating to try to
look
at those screens on your controller, I think, and try to absorb yourself in the shots you're trying to create.
Well, again, for me, we've talked about a million times. It depends what I'm doing. If we're doing air to air and I can, look around, or I'm shooting some video where I can, see the drone and air quotes see it. But if I'm doing something where the drone's a little bit out of my sight, or we're doing the high up stuff with the sailplanes, the goggles are fantastic.
It seems like a little larger craft, very slight, but it's still a small craft. Like, to try to spot and do aerial. I mean, you're going to want to be absorbed with your goggles or whatever. Yeah. You're not going to want to do line of sight or anything with something that small, I wouldn't think, typically.
So there you have it. That's the new Mavic 2 in Zoom or Pro. So let us know. I'm curious to know what you guys would rather have, the Zoom or...
We might have to get together with him, and I should have brought him on the show today.
Yeah, maybe we'll
next show. Next show would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll...
I think he said they released Thursday, and he had his Monday. So
you're
it was like
kidding. Really? He had a pre-order probably?
Yeah.
What's that? DJI. That's pretty funny. Okay, folks. We're going to get out of here, but I got one last thing before we get through our sponsors and stuff. I want to read a crash story. It's really good. I was like, wow. Andre, did you read this story by chance?
I don't think I did.
Okay. This is from David Crawford, and he says, "Hi, Chris, Andre, and Bigfoot. I wanted to send you a crash story that just took place this past Thursday evening. I had a group that gets together every Thursday night for Thursday night free flight. Here's what I was flying. An FT Simple Cub built at Flight Fest 2017. $29.95 with Power Pack B, $60. FR Sky Receiver, $34. FR Sky Battery Monitor, $14. Turn-in-G Graphene 3 cell, $2,200 for $30. So I had a total of $167 in the air. Graphene battery had about 5 flights on it, and yes, it was probably a little too heavy for that little FT Cub. FT Cub was a little worn down from a year's worth of abuse, but it flew so well that I took it with me everywhere. I was horsing around doing some aileron rolls at one time when I thought I would be cool, come down the flight line and impress the kids with a double aileron roll. I got way too close to the ground, pulled up, and it stalled the wing. I proceeded to jam on the power. Remember, this is a B pack. The FT Cub flips back and forth as I fight to keep it from being a lawn dart, and then I start to gain some altitude. Just then, one of the kids yells, "He's flying behind the flight line, look out!" The next thing we heard was whack, as FT Cub settles down into her new home at the top of a tree behind us. All right, so here he is, all out of whack, loses a plane, ends up in a tree, right? No problem. He says, no problem, I think. The last time I stuck a plane in the tree, I didn't have my secret weapon, but now I do. So being the super smart guy that I am, I went to my truck, got my $1,200 DJI Phantom 4, got some rope. I tie the rope onto the landing gear, go down about 10 feet, and make a big loop with a slip knot. Okay, so you got that, Mike? He's got the rope on there, 10 foot hanging down, big old slip knot. So we get the idea where he's going, right? Yep. Sounds perfect. He says, I tie the rope onto the landing gear. I make my loop so I can grab the tail of the airplane. Then, all I have to do is go full throttle on the Phantom, and I'm home free.
Oh, geez, this sounds scary. I think I would have dropped the rope to my hands first. Trying to.
I forgot to mention that the batteries had started to discharge during the process because I have not flown it in about 3 weeks. Anyway, so I launch the Phantom, tilt the camera down so I can see what I'm doing, and I get it above the trees. Then I slowly lower my lasso down to the plane level, only to find out that the smaller branches around the plane won't let the rope get close to the FT Cub. Then it happens. That sound that strikes fear in every Phantom owner's heart. The battery alarm starts going off. Abort mission, land now. You're like, oh no, because this thing is loud and annoying. And no matter if it's 20 feet away, you're like, oh my God, there's a battery alarm. It's going to die, right? I punched the throttle up full speed only to find out that it was not going anywhere. I tried backing up, going side to side, even giving it slack and punching it again, only to watch as the red lights flashed at me and the Phantom wavered back and forth, trying to struggle and break free. So in other words, Mark, he got the rope down there and they got wrapped around the branches and then he couldn't get it free. The battery alarm's going off and you're freaking out. I was like, Andre, can you picture this?
Yes.
I would just be like, you're what do you do? Your $1,200 Phantom is tethered to branches and you can't, your battery alarm's going off. About then, she gave up.
I do gotta panic.
I'm already like the hair on my arm standing up. I'm like, oh my God. About then, she gave up fight and started the auto land process down into the trees.
Oh no.
All I heard next was what sounded like a weed whacker going through tall brush. I could just make out the shape of the Phantom swinging back and forth as it dangled from the rope. Oh my gosh. That would be horrible. Auto land, and you're sitting there, no control. There is nothing you can do but watch your Phantom, just like he said, a weed whacker going down through the trees.
Oh gosh.
Cost of the FT Cub $167.95. Cost of the Phantom $1,200. Total cost $1,367. Okay, now wait. I think I can just reach the end of the rope. Yes, I got it. I yanked on the rope with all my strength, and I saw the Phantom going back up in the air and coming down towards me. Oh crap, I have to catch it. Luckily, the rope in the tree caught it, and it landed with some very thick brush on the edge of the tree. I pulled it out, looked it over. It's missing 2 of the 3 screws on the cover on the cover of the landing gear, but no other damage. I gave it a test flight with a second battery, and sure enough, no damage. All the action with the rope in the tree had knocked the FT Cub down about 20 feet, but I was shaking from all the excitement that just went on. I couldn't get back to the field until Saturday evening, but it only took one quick hit with a long pole to knock the FT Cub down. I checked the graphene battery, and as you suspect, 0 volts. I thought I could see the Cub was still good, so I put another battery in it and tossed it into the air. The FT Cub took off like nothing, and it happened, and it flew half a dozen times since on Sunday afternoon. Lesson learned. Don't use your $1,200 stick to get a $168 plane down. Thanks for all you do, Dave.
Story. And the fact that it ended
Holy cow. Oh,
I can't believe it. I can only imagine pulling that rope and seeing that thing come launching out up in the air.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't believe it didn't do more damage with that tug on the rope even. You think it would have broke more?
Not really. It's not.
Because you've got to think it had to like launch itself around that limb.
Oh man. That's just crazy story. But that is, I love that story. I told him, I said, David, awesome. that is a fantastic story. All right, guys, there you have it. We're done. We're getting out of here. Thanks again for joining us. Once again, thank you, GetFpv, for coming on board and helping us out. Please go check getfpv.com. Everything drone and FPV, man, I'm wearing out here. FPV related, they have it. Use our RCAfterhours code, RCAfterhours, spend $120 and receive 10% off your entire order. They are having a big sale right now for Labor Day here in the States. Go use LDAY5 off and use our discount code for a total of 15% off your entire order. Or if you don't spend $120, you can still use the Labor Day code. You just have to spend $60 and you can use the 5% off. So go check out GetFpv. They also have all the best FPV goggles of 2018. Whether you're in search of the best FPV goggle on the market today or on a tight budget and need the best bang for your buck, GetFpv has you covered. They have the largest selection of FPV goggles, allowing you to find the perfect goggles that you're looking for, whether it be Fat Shock Dominator HDO FPV goggles, the Dominator HD2 Terminators, Amway, how do you say that? The V2 Diversity FPV goggle, the Fat Shark Recon, the DJI goggle Racing Edition. They have them all. So go check out GetFpv. Again, use our RC After Hours discount, spend $120, and save 10% on your entire order. Fantastic deal. And real quick, once again, if you're not sure about something, go check out getfpv.com/learn. They have all the information on everything you want, FPV and drone related, and you can find out the answers and then go spend $120 and use our discount code. So there you have it. GetFpv.com. Check them out, please, because they're helping the show go. If it wasn't for them, we may not be here, Mike. And that's it. There you have it. We're done. Mike, anything you wanted to add? Andre, anything?
No, we're all good, man. We're all good.
All right. Then we're going to get out of here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for Facebook Live, coming and hanging out. I love that interaction of reading your comments, answering your questions. That's fun. That's one of my favorite parts. Thanks for Steve Neal from Hobbyking coming on, joining us, giving us all that wonderful information on what's coming down the pike, what airplanes they're working on. Oh, I just love that inside information.
Yeah, it is awesome.
So thanks for Steve for coming on and hanging out. That's it, guys. We're out of here. Frank, you're a little late, buddy, but go back and rewatch the show. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and we'll see what's happening then. We might have a guest coming up shortly by the name of Chad Capper, possibly. We're working on it, so we'll see how that goes. Other than that, we're done. See you later. Bye.